Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we spotlight guest Sue Phipps, a 70-year-old resident of Kirkland, Washington. She suffered a stroke in 1990 and will share a piece she wrote 8 years after. It describes a specific seizure, bout with depression, and how her husband and a longtime friend helped Sue pull through. Thank you for joining us for Part 2, Sue Phipps interview. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. This radio show, Beyond Stillness, offers an hour of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. Sue Phipps recently celebrated her 70th birthday and lives in Kirkland, Washington. She was a registered nurse, caregiver, flight attendant, worked in sales for cable television, and still enjoys her role as a wedding planner. She loves spending time at the coast, but most of all cherishes time with family and friends. She suffered a brain aneurysm in 1990. She wrote this story 8 years later. It is entitled Seizures. But before we begin, let's take a moment of pause, calling to mind people in our lives who show up at just the right time. Maybe they say exactly what we need to hear in the perfect moment. Maybe they were just there, present, beside us in a moment of need. Maybe we met them at just the right time in our lives, and they bumped us into a life-giving direction. Think of a specific person, or maybe two, in your mind right now. See their faces. Imagine them surrounded by warmth and light. And give thanks. We give thanks for the people who accompany us on our journey and hold us, encourage us, unconditionally love us to be and become our inspired selves. Sue, you have a different perspective on recovery than many people because your stroke was so long ago. And I think that that's one of the reasons that I'm so looking forward to talking with you about this, because you have all this wisdom looking back on this moment. And sometimes we get bogged down by one individual moment in time, and it's hard to see how far we've come and also where we might go from here.
Yes.
I'm going to start back at the top of your story. I think that you did a really good job at explaining what it's like to have a seizure, first off. Do you still have seizures periodically?
No, actually, that was the last seizure I had, was the one that I wrote about, which is kind of amazing. And I don't know if it is because of the medication I was on. They switched it, and maybe that helped. But the other thing is I learned how to, this is going to sound strange, but how to prevent them. I would have, from time to time, what's called an aura, AURA, which you feel like you're starting to lose control. And that went from the aura into the seizure. Instead, what I did was I said, stop, stop, stop. Whatever I did, I closed my eyes, I took deep breaths, and I was able to hold on to that part of my brain that previously took me into a seizure. I know that sounds so sorry, but it has worked. It's worked for me.
Did someone offer you that advice, or did you figure that out on your own?
No, I figured it on my own. Usually my seizures would come from times of activity or stress or too many things happening. And just logically, I thought, stop it, stop everything, and just hold on to that part of my brain. So I was able to hold that control.
When you say that part of your brain, what are you referring to?
When I would have a seizure, it was as though my control, where we're all right now, we know what we're doing, we can feel everything, we can see things and talk. It would be a part of my brain that would go, okay, you know what? I'm taking over now. And it's like my control, oh, this is going to sound so strange, would leave my brain, and I'd almost as though go into this unawareness of where my brain was going. I couldn't speak. In fact, my type of seizure was one where I knew people were talking, but I couldn't understand them. I couldn't speak at all, not at all. And that's the kind of seizure. I don't know the name of it. It was a Jacksonian, the ones where I would shake. But yeah, this is where I just lost all awareness. And it would leave for about a couple of minutes. And then it would come back to my control of that seizure.
Wow. While we were talking about the phone call, when you noticed that you were starting to not be able to talk, your mind can think that you aren't able to talk. And then you looked at the television and you thought, okay, am I able to follow the conversation on the TV? And then you couldn't. It's as if you were watching the whole seizure begin to happen.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. It's so bizarre. It is amazing that after all those years that really that I haven't had a seizure. It's again such a blessing. I'm so grateful.
Do they know why?
No, they don't. Although I haven't asked it in a long time. Next time I go to my neurologist, I should ask him.
I think it's interesting that you were focusing on the process and the effects of seizures. You were spending time focused on being intentional. Once you paid attention to it and said, seizure, I see you, and it's so painful, and this is what it does to me. And at that point, you held it, and then you haven't had one since. That is amazing.
It is amazing and absolutely crazy. It's like just, oh my goodness. And then it gives me a feeling of, wait a minute. We have more control in our lives than we think we do.
Yeah.
I wish my dad were still around so that I could ask him, being a neurologist.
Yeah, that's true. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with your dad. You mentioned him a few times in your story.
Yeah, dad was wonderful. Well, my whole family is amazing. Um, but dad, because he was a neurologist, that's why I wanted to be a nurse. So I would spend days with him, being nurse Sue, I couldn't be related to him as I learned nursing and kind of experience it through that. And dad was just so bright and so fascinating and so loving. So I had the most wonderful parents in the world.
And that he was a doctor too. To have people like that in the medical field is really important.
Well, and that's where he, when he looked at the x-rays, he just said, he told my family, Sue will never be able to talk because of the size of the cerebral hemorrhage. He said it was about the size of a baseball. And he said, if dad also said that she will probably die because of the size and the hemorrhage.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that's when dad said, you know what? Do whatever you think, but I don't think her outcome is going to be very good. And that's when Neil said, it doesn't matter. I need to have her around. Probably 2 weeks into recovery, right after the neurosurgery. One of the things that shows how strong my relationship was with mom and dad is they both said, they had a conversation, and dad said, Sue will probably not be able to walk. She will be paralyzed and she will need a lot of recovery. So they decided to leave Seattle. Dad would leave his practice and move to the Bay Area because they would take care of us, of me.
Wow. Wow.
That they would be there because Neil would need to work. So mom and dad would be taking care of me, which was amazing.
Huh. So that was it 34 years ago that you had your stroke?
Yeah.
34 years ago. You told us a little bit about what your good days and your bad days looked like just 8 years after the stroke. How about now? What do your good days and bad days look like from the lens of stroke recovery?
That's a really good question. I usually think I'm doing fine, no problem, but I also know that I have aphasia. And it's usually worse at night after a full day. It's also difficult in deep conversations, although those are my favorite conversations. But it's interesting with aphasia and with sometimes when I miss the word, I come up with the wrong word. I can feel it going correctly from my brain to my mouth. I know the right word, but going from my mouth out to other people, I can hear it being the wrong word. I'm sure other people feel this way too, who've had strokes, but yeah. So as it's going, I'm going, oh darn it! I know that's the wrong word.
Yeah, when it's at the tip of your tongue and you know what it went, but you can't get it out, and then you hear yourself say something else, and you think, that's not it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do have tough times, but overall, because I was given such that positive resilience, I'm usually that way. I'm usually very positive.
And that helps you through the recovery process.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I'm thankful that you shared about your moment because undoubtedly we have moments of depression throughout our recovery, and some more than others. And I'm wondering, did you ever take antidepressants or seek any help with your depression along the way?
I did. Probably around this, about 2 years after my aneurysm and stroke. But I didn't stay with it because I didn't feel like it was doing much good. What really helped me more than that was when I would I would really I needed to spend time by myself because I was going through difficult time, just feeling sorry for myself. What helped me more than medication was talking to people, was having Lenny, having my siblings that would always be there to help me get through it. So it was the friends and family that gave me the same sort of that, getting out of that depression by being with the people that I felt so blessed to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do know that without a doubt, I am so fortunate to have the people in my life. I know a lot of people don't have that. But I found as I was going through that spiral of depression, I could catch it and say, wait a minute, call mom. Oh, that, and that would kind of bring me out. I don't know how it works for other people, but that's what helped me.
Yeah. Thank you, Sue. Yeah, you're right. Everyone has a different journey with stroke, with life, and with depression, and also different areas of the brain are affected. So there's different biology and chemistry and everything going on. There was a guest named Ray Erdman who spoke about stigma around taking medication. And he said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And does it make you turn into I forget if he said werewolf or something like that. He had all these thoughts in his mind. And then when talking with the doctor said, actually, there's a specific part of your brain that was affected in the stroke that is going to give you depression. And so this is going to be very helpful for you specifically. And once he tried it, he realized that it fueled his recovery because he was more motivated, right? He had a different outlook on life. And what I love about your story, Sue, is like the seizure, you said you were able to realize when the seizure was coming on, and then you had a tool to redirect it. What you're saying with your depression, you got to a point that you could feel it coming on in your mind and your body. What worked for you was calling a family member or a friend or surrounding yourself with other people. And that helped pull you out of that.
Yes. But it's kind of like, as you mentioned, what the doctor said, how I take the anti-seizure medication? I would never not take that. And in the same way, if there is a medication that someone can take to ward off depression, oh my gosh, it's like taking an anti-seizure. You're going to take it if it keeps you out of it. And thank goodness they have medication for that.
Absolutely.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
That's different.
So different. You're right. Every story is different. What are some other tools that you've used to help break your downward spirals?
Now or back then, or a little bit of all of it?
All of it.
One thing that makes a huge difference in my life and makes me smile all the time are the nieces and nephews in our life and their children. We did not have children. And so I look at the kids, and that, as I mentioned about Anna and Mom, it just fills me with joy. So the more, if I ever get down about something, I think, okay, well, let's get together with the kids or my siblings or Neil. It is really that be with other people who give you positiveness, that they never, it's not a tearing you down ever. It's always just making you feel about yourself and about this life that we have. So I want to be around people that put me up, not tear me down.
Yes. And knowing who those people are in our lives, it's really important.
And inspire us. I love it that you said that. That's a word I left out, and you can't. And the other thing too, I think since I just turned 70, it is this feeling of this is my last quarter, or maybe with a little overtime. But because of that, I want to spend time with doing things that I really want to do and being with people that I really want to be with, and get the best out of life that we can, right?
Yeah, squeeze it out. Squeeze the best out of life. Exactly.
It's really like that. And Molly, being with you is honestly, I've already said this to you, but I want to say it on this interview. You have been such an inspiration in my life, and I think for everybody out there that you talk to. And you are a shining light, without a doubt, in so many different ways. So
thank you.
On behalf of all of us.
Thank you. I feel honored to meet with all the people who share their stories, but also, Sue, throughout the past, 5 weeks or so, I have enjoyed meeting with you also, because you always light up the screen. And at one point you said, people sometimes think that I'm childlike, and you have a beautiful childlike joy that turns to wisdom.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I've asked Neil, have I changed since all of this? And he said, only in one way. You have become more childlike. That's the only, so that you would see that and say that, yeah, it's not a Pollyannish. It's more like Neil said, it's more childlike innocence, I guess.
It's looking at the world with awe and wonder, really.
Yes. Oh, that's nice. I'm writing all these things down that you say.
So do you say that that's new since your stroke?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
And especially in going through so many of the disabilities that I have and getting through them. So being confident that it will continue. Now, I'm not unrealistic. Who knows what will happen between now and when my last day is. But I know that I will have the tools or the gifts to get through it. And that's a calming feeling too.
Yes. What a gift to you and to others, to those around you. We can feel when someone is at peace and has a sense of calm.
Yeah.
And create that space for other people. So I'm going to go back a little bit. You said it would take me a month to return to the level of progress I had reached before the seizure. That's frustrating. It's heart-wrenching. Recovery is a long road, and there's a lot of 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
That's right.
So how have you learned? What's one of the tools that you use to get through those moments of backward movement?
I think one of the tools that I've used, or one of the gifts I realize, is that if I would have a seizure or if something would happen, I would feel, okay, take a deep breath and say, damn it, this is so frustrating. I wasn't planning on this. But then I say, but you've been here before. You know how to do this. It's not brand new. It's just so damn frustrating to have to go through it. So take a deep breath, start doing the work, and then get on the other side of it, because there will be another side of it. The other thing is that I know that I'm learning things through God. So, for instance, when I had breast cancer, I never went through this, oh my gosh, poor me. Instead, I said, I went through this feeling of, okay, God, you've given me this. Let's see what you want to do with it. That is so bizarre that I would feel, but that really is the way I feel.
Sounds like a lot of self-talk, coaching yourself along, and then handing it over to God.
Yeah. And a lot of praying. And a wonderful group of women who are in a weekly Bible study, who they're always there to give support and love and help in any way.
Yeah. People have talked about a variety of different groups that have helped throughout their recovery. And sometimes it's a book club, it's a reading group, it's a quilt group. Finding that companionship is really important. Finding community is really important.
Exactly. That community is a huge part.
At the moment in your story when Lynn asked you to recall your day together 3 or 4 weeks after your aneurysm, when your right side was paralyzed and you were still struggling to talk, and she said to you that you were an inspiration to her and that you had an aura of serenity and peace around you, even though you were going through this disaster. Was she visiting you in the hospital? Is that right?
She lived in the Bay Area, so she came to Stanford to visit me.
Okay. So when you were in your moment of depression, she asked you to recall that day, and she asked, why were you doing so well, even though there was no guarantee that life would improve?
Yes. It's interesting. She came in during that period of 6 weeks at Stanford. I vividly remember, and I remember feeling this incredible sense of peace that entire time. I hadn't had it before. I haven't had it after. But while I was there, everything was calm and peaceful. So when Lenny came into the room, and I'm in a wheelchair, and at the time, I had everything you have. I had my IV. I had, there was so much that I should have been. I couldn't talk, but I never felt like, oh, now what? My life is awful. What do I do from here? I never did. I always knew things would turn out. Now, how I got that peace, how I got that knowing feeling, I just give that right back to God's grace. I really do. It just, sometimes you say that and people will roll their eyes like, oh my gosh, that's all it took. Well, for me, I just knew that he would take care of me. I just wasn't sure how. So when Lenny came in, it was, as she said, I can't even explain it. I walked in and the whole room was just very spiritual. She couldn't even explain it in words. I know.
It's amazing that these life or death moments, they're moments of opening where whatever the belief is, whether it's God or spirit or this energy that flows between, you can just feel it. She walked in, she felt it. That's how you felt inside. And she walked into the room and she felt it.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Yeah. And people talk about that, their life or death experiences where they're watching what's happening, maybe from outside of their body or just from inside of their body. They're watching and witnessing, and to be able to release our fear and our emotions. That fleeting moment is beautiful.
Yes.
In Celtic spirituality, they call them thin places, those places where this world meets beyond.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were able to sit with yourself maybe 2 years after your stroke, being the person you are now, what would you say to Sue?
Mm-hmm. Just don't give up. I would say then and today, life will always present us with challenges, with frustrations, but don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Life will get better if we do the work that it takes to get there. That would be one part. The other part of it would be always remember that God always showed up. He always did. Molly, I'm going to use what you said, which is God will leave breadcrumbs.
Mm.
I love that, because that's true. And we can just step right over it, the breadcrumbs, or we can take them and look at them and move a little step further to where we're going to end up. So trusting and having patience.
Mm.
And I think that's what both of those serve me and have served me well.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
Mm. Sitting with you is always like a warm bath, Sue. It feels like I'm held in this moment. It's a moment where I feel this sense of peace, like that feeling that Lenny had when she saw you in the hospital. The way that you step back and you reflect, you acknowledge them as they were, tough moments, but you give grace to them in your reflection upon those moments. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a moment of pause here before we conclude. Call into mind those moments in our lives that seemed dark. Those moments that were just too overwhelming. Let's hold those in the palm of our hand and give light to them. And think about others who might be experiencing darkness now, who might feel overwhelmed, bogged down. Let's send them light now. May they find courage to take that one next step that will lead them forward, that will lift them up. May they find the support, the guidance, the love, the care, so that they may be and become their inspired selves. Sue, thank you. Thank you for sharing your piece that you wrote so many years ago. Thank you for offering your wisdom in this interview. And thank you for meeting with me for the past, 5 weeks or so. Thank you.
And thank you, Molly. This has been such a treat.
For me too, Sue. For me too. Thank you. Thank you for devoting time and space to listen to Part 2, Sue Phipps interview. For the full story, Please listen to Part 1, Sue Phipps' story. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. In this episode of Beyond Stillness, Guest Sue Phipps offered Seizures, a story she wrote 8 years after her stroke. She shared about her struggle with seizures and depression and offered insight on what helped her survive and thrive recovery. If you enjoyed this moment of pause for storytelling and reflection, please like, share, or subscribe to the Beyond Stillness Stories After Stroke podcast. Again, thanks for listening. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational.
If you are part of the stroke community and have a story you'd like to share on the show, please contact us. Email molly@beyondstillness.org.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.